I actually want this discussion to come back to, this age, the time we are living in. So whatever we discussed, it seems totally right in principle. But when it comes to the world that we are living in, that Tinder age, the Bumble age that we are in, here accepting a sexuality is a big thing. That people want you to come out with it, right? That's why this entire LGBTQ movement is also there. That people want you to be more of the gender that you associate yourself to be. So with this kind of a mind, the man is trying to become more of a man, the female is trying to be more of a woman. Now, when the entire flow is moving in this direction, then how this principle that we were discussing...
No, it's not really true, Uday. Think of K-pop. Are the men really trying to conform more to the masculine stereotype?
No.
Think of BTS. That's BTS, right?
BTS. The Korean band.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Are men really trying to conform to the masculine stereotype? No, that's not really happening. Please understand. We talked of two sets of values. The feminine values, the masculine values, and we said the real set of values that we need as human beings, not as men, not as women, but as human beings, is a third set, a totally different set. Now these two sets, they appear opposite to each other, but they are actually one. That's why it's so easy for members of one set to adopt values of the other set. You can have cross-dressers.
There are men who are doing makeup now.
There are men who are doing makeup, so much of makeup, please. But it's very, very difficult for residents of both of these sets to endorse values of this third and higher set. A lot of mobility between these two sets in the same dimension is possible and also evident these days. No? Women are trying to be like men.
Yes.
Women are trying to be like men, and that's so easy, very easy, because both these sets are two faces of the same coin. They belong to the same dualistic plane. So women at any point may decide to act, dress, behave and smoke like men and abuse like men. Men may decide that it's fashionable these days, to be clean, hairless,
to wear makeup.
To wear makeup and do all the things that women typically do. And there's no difficulty in that. Mobility is very easy. Now what's really difficult, really challenging, and what would make you a real human being is if you decide to ascend to that third and higher value set, irrespective of whether you are a man or a woman, and ascension to that third set. Forget about ascension. Even acknowledgement that that third set is in fact higher than the two at the bottom is equally different for both the man and the woman. Just as we say the women like to keep to their nest. Similarly, you talk to women and they'll say men find it incredibly difficult to share the household chores. To stay inside and do some, come on, clean the rack, do the utensils. So both of them stick to their value systems. Sometimes they decide to just cross over and say, no, I'm liberated, and I'm liberated if I am adopting values from the other set. No, you're not liberated if being a man you turn womanly, or being a woman you take up the masculine values. That's not liberation. And that's very important in this age of feminism, when still a lot of women believe that liberation is about being or acting more masculine. Liberation is a third thing altogether. Liberation does not lie in being a woman, liberation does not lie in being a man. Liberation lies in valuing what would turn you into a qualified human being. Qualified not academically, qualified in the sense of being existentially there, high up there. And that's an entirely different set, and that's what spirituality is about. That's what all entire wisdom literature is about.
But the common man, does he even know about the possibility of a third set of values that he can aspire to be?
Nobody, if Darius is happy, right? Being caged in his own physical and social set of values. Are you happy? Am I happy? Is anybody else here? He seems to be happy, probably. I don't know. Who is happy? Caged in this small body, who is happy?
I mean, there seems to be a lot of pressure that you have to be happy. If I don't know that something else exists, and I look at, say, my Instagram and Facebook feed and everyone is smiling and happy, I somehow believe that happiness is what they're doing.
I don't just look at the feed, no? I also look at the number of likes and shares. And that takes away all the happiness. No? It was such a pretty pic I put up. And only 540 likes. Only 540 likes. And I just want to unfriend, rather block all those who were insensitive, even cruel enough to not to like. And this one, he pretends to be my best friend. And he just liked and shared and there is no comment from him. How can you just like and share? Where is the comment? So who is happy? Tell me. Are you happy?
But there are so many avenues that people can try to, in their illusion that maybe happiness is just there. Let me try once more. Here and there and this and that.
That's what we do. That's what we do all our life.
But this illusion will never break this way, right?
No, that won't. We'll remain caged there with the hope that one day circuiting the same loop will bring us out of the loop. It won't happen.
I think a lot of people don't even tend to question themselves. They think that this is how life is. This is how it is.
Even I want to ask you, Shubhankar, if the woman is caged in the house, why don't you want to say that the man is caged in the office?
Obviously.
Why is only the home or the nest the cage? Yeah. Why is the high-flying Ivy League MBA not caged in the MNC office? Tell me, please.
Definitely. Similarly, if a female body has the libidinal, it-driven compulsion to bear a child, I mean, we can also hypothesize that a male body has somewhat libidinal compulsion to keep spreading his seed.
Obviously,
everywhere,
that's what we are doing,
hopping up.
Throwing our DNA all around.
If a woman stays put in her nest, a man keeps hopping from one nest to another.
Exactly. And that you cannot call as freedom or liberation. That's just biological behavior. We cannot say that if a woman wants to prefer monogamy and keep to herself and raise the nest, that's biological behavior. But if the man wants to keep squirting his DNA all over the place, that's liberation. No, that's not liberation.
I'm not even. When I talked about the women's biology, it was only in the context that why she needs to be indirect with everything. Why there is such a big need? Because what I have seen factually is that her indirectness or her willingness to stay safe is coming from the fact that she has a womb to take care of. That's all. Otherwise, man has their own set of bondages and woman has because biology in itself is bondage in the end. So.
Think over it a little more. You have to ask yourself, to what extent are they culprits and to what extent do they deserve some empathy? I don't want to be on either extreme. It has to be a thing on case-to-case basis. But what I know is that every single human being, irrespective of the gender, has an urge towards excellence, towards clarity, towards freedom. No? Nobody likes to be hated. Nobody likes to be cheated. These are things that we share in common, irrespective of who we are. So if women have that basic human urge, and they are living and behaving in ways that deny or rather defeat that urge, I would want to think whether I should be rather harsh or probably emphatic towards them. I mean, empathetic.
From where I see, I think that it is the same with men.
Same with men.
Same with men.
Same with men.
Because when you talk about the third value, the third set,
Yeah.
then the situation is the same. They have their own set of obstacles, but that choice to ascend is a personal choice in the end. I mean, as you said,
Yes, it's a personal choice.
it's a case by case thing.
And that's probably where men and women differ. Men are in a better position to make that right personal choice compared to women, because now this is where the nest kicks in, because the kids are a thing irreversible. So when it comes to choosing a new life, choosing a new being, it's easier for the men compared to the women. And because the women know that they cannot take that route, therefore I would agree that they in general become averse to the route itself. If we look at our social media stats, out of the total followers, no more than 15 or 20% are women. Whereas the ratio of the two genders in general on those platforms, be it Instagram or YouTube or whatever, would be approximately 50% each. Still, when it comes to wisdom, to spirituality, to things that take you beyond your body and personality, women are not that eager. That's interesting, and that needs to be addressed.
Acharya, again, this is not a social conditioning, but if we look factually, the kid, if the kid is 4 or 5 years old, if the society is right, he is well capable of living. He doesn't need care of.
That's a very important point. When you say that the woman has to raise the kid for a long time, is that also not a reflection on the kind of society we have?
But what is a society in the end? I mean,
You look at
If the kid can go to any house and take the food.
exactly. You look at, for example,
not my
a
kid
group
or-
of elephants walking. It's not merely the mother that's looking after the baby elephant. The baby elephant belongs to the entire group. Obviously, the mother takes special care, but then and to an extent that's a spiritual value. Not being identified with your own bodily thing. This is just my kid. Had we been a more enlightened society, would the mother still be under the same kind of pressure to take care of the personal kid for such long years?
I think as if now this is, again, I have no prejudice against women, obviously, but I have seen that it's not as if it's a burden on the woman that she needs to take. She takes great delight in raising her own kid. Right now too, so many celebrities, even if they adopt their own kids, the actresses and if they will still end up having her own genes apart, because I've seen that it's something that they really relate to, as in my kid, I'm raising it, and I've put my effort into it, and everything. And on one hand, I totally agree with the fact that maybe for a lot of women, it might just come as a bondage, and they would be grateful that there is a society where they don't need to think about their own kid, and there is somebody who's loving them and taking care of them. But on the other hand, I've also seen that women take great, they basically relish the fact that they have kids to take care of.
You're talking of a particular set of women. The way you would agree, the way an Indian mother relates to her kid is not the same way an American mother relates to her kid. So it's not out of the body.
Yeah.
Not just a bodily thing.
Not just the body.
Right? Not just the bodily thing.
Totally.
In the past, we have many stories of kings who were trying to have a kid and then they married so many women. Now, in such cases, the man was more,
Eager to have a kid.
eager to have a kid.
Yes.
Right?
The objective of the man was very different.
And whatever be the objective, even the man wants to have a kid.
It can be a nest, it can be a fortress, but
We can ask which foundation is stronger. A female's libidinal foundation to have a child, desire a child, take delight in taking care of her, or a man's desire, subliminal, subconscious desire to possess all women. They want to have sex with all the women. I mean, they are attracted to where they fantasize about like sleeping with hundreds, thousands. It's a fantasy in men to
about the
have.
headspace. Men's headspace is occupied with conquering women.
Which
and
Maya
women's
is bigger? I mean,
headspace
it's easy to say that a woman's Maya because she has that
But
system.
the question here was that which is the irreversible one?
That's where there is a difference, yes.
Yes, the irreversible one. A man may choose to sleep with 100 other women, but if he chooses that he doesn't want to, then he can withdraw. But if a woman, after bearing a kid, can she now choose to withdraw? Obviously not.
I mean, having intercourse with women also comes up with its own sets of repercussions, emotional repercussions that a man has to deal with. And I think that modern medicine has brought a woman to a point where she can, she can let herself free of the real compulsion to have a child. I mean, there are medicines.
We are talking about the
sex
child is there.
does not really mean, it's not sex is input and the baby is output. It's not that anymore.
But the kid can be excused also for not working, like suppose.
Yeah, but then that tendency, even if the kid is an excuse to have a relatively laid back life, and that which is something that might happen in the more prosperous kind of households, where the woman is really under no financial pressure to work and earn, and she may say, oh, I have a kid so I don't want to work. Even that tendency, is it really a feminine tendency to sit and eat for free?
Oh, no.
In India, everyone wants to.
It's present in both the genders.
It's
just
very
that
much present.
Both the genders have different routes to express this tendency.
Acharya ji, her husband is taking bribe in his office and eating for free, so that's getting expressed.
Yes, definitely.
Probably the question here would be, if we really see so much distortion in one of the genders, must that not make us fearful of what is going on within the other gender? If the two are in some way mirror images of each other, if the two are in some way very intricately linked to each other, and so much is sick in one gender, what does it tell about the other one? And if the men folk are equally sick, are they really in a position to even determine the sickness on the other side? Because here we are talking of the sickness of the perceiving system itself. The consciousness itself is sick. And if men are sick, how will they really know the the depth, the quality, the reason, the magnitude, everything of the woman's sickness. It's like that side is blind and this side is equally blind. How will this side know whether the other side is blind?
It's scary to think that because, as you've said, if the pendulum is out of balance, I am out of balance. But if I'm being honest, I don't see myself as being out of balance.
Yes.
I think I'm fine.
Because that is the only way I've been living till now. So that is the normal for me.
Answer this question. Is it possible to have a society in which one of the genders is healthy and the other one is sick?
No.
Not possible. So that tells us where we stand. We should be afraid of our own sickness. We should be very, very afraid. And if fear is a word that unnerves you, then alert. This is a very loud alarm bell.
I have a question, Acharya. So there was a discussion that women wants to have a kid, but in olden days, what used to happen is the women had 8 kids, 9 kids. So they can want to have 2 or 3 kids because the body is wanting. But even if they were pregnant all the times and they had 8 to 10 kids and they were working also parallelly, they were in villages. So after 2 kids, it is a mistake on the man's side, right? Because women does not, even if women does not want it, the man is forcing to have kids.
I don't know whether women really want to have 8 or 10 kids.
Or at 30, the libidinal desire is really
At 40,
so much.
if you are having 10 kids, probably you are reproducing right till 40. So I don't think that's something to do with the woman's bodily desires. It's obviously a reflection of the lustfulness and the sheer stupidity of the man.
And in so many families, Acharyaji, we find that there are 5 siblings or 4 siblings, 3 siblings. The eldest one is a son. So, it's obvious what has happened there.
The youngest or eldest?
The youngest one, sorry.
Obviously that is there.
Because here the objective of the whole thing is that how can both, now first it started with women, but now I can see that even for both the genders, how they can ascend. So when I look at both the genders and the obstacles that they have in ascension, I find that he talks about 3 kids here, but her journey for ascension stops at the first kid, or is made more difficult. I would say, I wouldn't say stop, because stop will be very definite. It is not that it is the ultimate thing, but it is made more definite when a child is born to a female. But for a man to leave a relationship behind, it is difficult. But if I have somebody who have brought in the world and I have a personal liability.
Think of this, if a woman finds it actually very difficult to resist her bodily desires and her social conditioning, will she let it be easy for the man to leave her?
Obviously not.
So why do you say that it's easier for the man to leave her? It's easier for the man to leave her in the man's thoughts. Ask the woman, she will smile, she will say, I'll see how he leaves me.
That is true.
The law is by their side. The law is by their side.
If the woman is actually so hell-bent, so insistent on leading the kind of life you are talking of, will she let it remain easy for the man to fly away? She will say, I want to remain trapped, and I'll let the man fly away. And that too when the man is the provider of the nest. If the man is allowed to fly away, who will provide for the nest? So do not think that it's easier for men to fly away. Men might keep imagining and smiling that we will fly away one day. The woman has other plans.
So the inference is any conversation about a particular gender will be misleading. You have to
Obviously,
talk about
both
gender
of them.
as such and take all the genders to meta-gender.
Exactly. Why do you have to behave as per a particular gender? Why does your gender have to be as important to you as sex is to an animal? And even to the animals, you see, really is sex the central thing in life? Think of the rabbits, they are all neutered. There is no sex in their life. Do they look unhappy? They are happy. They run about, they play with each other, they even fight with each other. They bask in the sun these days. They do all kinds of things that rabbits usually do. And they are all white and fat. Women do not need to match men or be equal to men. You must value detachment. You must value discretion. If you talk of courage or focus or concentration, think of the concentration a woman can have on so many things in her life. So it's not courage or concentration, it's about concentrating on the right thing. It's about courage to let go. And you must have a strong desire towards the truth or liberation from bondages. You must have a strong aversion to any kind of falsenesses. I just don't dislike being enslaved. That's what you should value. Not your body as a woman, not your attitude as a man. Sickness in one side is definitely an indicator of sickness on the other side as well. And both these sicknesses will live and disappear together.